Good morning. We're going to start with some singing today. Yay! Okay. We have some words up here. Yeah, same thing as we've been doing today. We look very equitably seated. So I think we can just divide right in the middle. You can pick your favorite sides. Yeah. Choose your favorite people. Let's do This Little Light of Mine over here. Glory, glory over here. All right, glory, this little light. We'll be like that. So, I'll 3, 4. Glory, this little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. Since I laid my burden down. Glory, glory. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Since I laid my burden down. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Since I laid my burden down. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. So glad you've got your voice back.
Like
50%, 60%?
60.
60. Better than last week. I don't know about you, and I'm not sure if it was the blue sky that helped inspire the singing or the singing that inspired me to notice that we've got blue sky again, but it's a good way to start a Sunday. Bonjour tout le monde. Welcome everyone to the First Unitarian Congregation of Ottawa, whether you are here in Worship Hall or watching from wherever you may be. Know that you are welcome. And happy Mother's Day. Yes. Who are the mothers among us? Please rise. Raise your hand. Stand up, if you will. Love incarnate, my friends. Love incarnate. Mother's Day. And the start, if I may, of an occasional sermon series, 1 or 2 a year, on those whose shoulders we stand upon. And who better to start this series with than with our own Dr. Lotta Hitchmanova, pictured here. We walk by the sculpture, her bust, at the beginning of at the back of the room as you walk in, but we walk by it. I think we need to give some shape to those who have given so much to this community. Anyhow, I'm the Reverend Eric Meter, the lead minister here, and welcome.
And I'm Chris, your worship associate this morning. We'd like to acknowledge that our FirstU campus is located on unceded and unsurrendered Algonquin Anishinaabe territory, and the work of reconciliation is the responsibility of our congregation and of all Canadians. Our goal is to educate ourselves and all who have the willingness to understand, to be of service to those who are at risk, and to advocate for justice. Let's join our voices in song once more. Please rise in body or spirit as we sing together number 61 in the gray hymnal, Lo, the Earth Awakens Again. The lyrics will also be on the screen above. Okay, thanks.
I've been told that Hannah is going to help me light the chalice. Is that right, Hannah? Come on up, darling. And that's how it's done. I want pink boots like those. We light our chalice this morning to these words from Marjorie Midge C. Squire. We gather together in this sacred space, blessed by generations of love and concern, where we can hear the promise of life and share one another's pain, where hope prevails in the face of despair and the flame of love urges us on. Our chalice is lit. Come, let us worship together by singing once more our chalice song.
Morning, everyone. I'm Jody McIntosh. I am the Director of Religious Exploration, and I have a special story for you this morning. So I invite all those young or young at heart who would like to come and join me up at the front. So today we have Jet Pig with us once again. And we also have this beautiful little value garden that Jet Pig brought us a few weeks ago. And you can see where we planted the seeds of justice and equity over the last couple weeks. Did you plant justice and equity in the garden of your hearts over the last couple weeks? I know I did. Each week, Jet Pig will bring us a new seed to plant in both our value garden and in the gardens of our heart. Let's see what seed Jet Pig brought us this morning. Let's have a look. Reverend, can you read that? What is it? We have the seed of transformation. So, what does transformation mean to Unitarian Universalists? Transformation means that it's all about being open to growth and change. We are constantly learning and growing, both spiritually and ethically. Imagine your inner spirit as this little value garden, a sacred place where seeds of wisdom, compassion, and understanding are planted, just like a garden. Your spirit needs care, attention, and time to flourish. Let's delve into how our spiritual growth and learning is similar to how our garden will grow. In the soil of your spirit, curiosity is the seed. It's the spark that ignites your quest for knowledge and understanding. Just a tiny seed pushes through the earth. Your curiosity pushes you to explore life's mysteries. You ask questions and you seek answers and you learn from all of your experiences. Wisdom is like the rain, just like the rain we had this morning. The rain, it's the life-giving water that nourishes your spirit. It comes from ancient texts, teachings, and the shared wisdoms of others. Imagine each drop of wisdom soaking into your roots, strengthening your spiritual foundation. As you learn, your spirit grows taller, reaching for the light. Compassion is the sunlight for growth. Plants need sunlight to thrive, and I'm so happy to see that the sun is coming out this morning. It's the ability to understand and to empathize with others. Just as leaves turn sunlight into energy, your compassion turns knowledge into action. You reach out to help, comfort, and uplift those around you. Life's seasons, spring, summer, autumn, winter, they mirror our spiritual journey. Spring brings new beginnings, a chance to plant fresh seeds of intention. Summer brings growth and abundance, and autumn teaches us to let go, shedding those old beliefs and old habits. And winter gives us a time to rest and look within. Gardens sometimes need pruning if they get overgrown. So like a gardener cutting away the dead branches, life prunes your spirit. Challenges, losses, setbacks, they help shape you. Resilience, the tough bark of your spirit, helps you weather the storms. You bend, but don't break. Each scar on your bark becomes part of your story of strength. Finally, consider the seeds you sow. Every act of kindness, every moment of learning, these are your legacy. Your spirit seeds, they scattered, carried by the wind of time. They'll sprout in hearts you may never know, continuing the cycle of growth. So, Now we can plant our seed of transformation. Stick it right in. We plant the idea of change and growth in both our little garden and in the garden of our hearts. Thank you. So let's mark this spot with our stick that says transformation, to remember our commitment to nurturing our spirits and embracing transformation. As our garden grows, so too will our desire for growth and change. Together, we'll cultivate a world where transformation blooms for everyone. Join us next week when we'll plant another seed in our value garden. Until then, think about what you can do to help transformation grow in your heart. Thank you. So as is our tradition, we will make an arch for the children to go under as we sing them on our way to our classes. Thank you.
As health challenges continue, please take care and take advantage of online opportunities at FirstU to stay in touch. If you're new to FirstU and would like to learn more about us, you can find out more at our welcome table at the back of the pews. You can also contact us through our email at welcome@firstunitarianottawa.ca. And now we have Amy from our board to highlight some announcements for today.
Yeah, we're okay. Oh, no, stay there. All right. So, good morning, everybody. I apologize for my voice. I'm not sick. I'm just still a little hoarse. So apologies in advance. Okay. So we have a number of announcements this morning. I'm going to start with the big thank you to the Justice and Equity Action Group, who organized what I was told was a great lunch last week before the AGM. And that lunch was part of the food sharing project. It will be expanding this year to include to provide food for members, to support members of the congregation, on top of the leafy greens that are already provided in the room back there from Ajashki, and a food cupboard to help those members in the congregation experiencing food insecurity. And then also to do community lunches from time to time. So thank you again. I'm told it was very good, and that's great. And then they have another announcement as well. And this announcement has to do with, so Justice and Equity is also has an announcement about healthcare in Fellowship Hall. So you can stop by and learn about how private clinics overcharge OHIP, and then they also charge us. So find out what you can do about that. So they'll have an information table in Fellowship Hall. And then today we have a number of things going on in the congregation. So I'm going to do all of those announcements right now. So the first one is, you may have seen it when you walked in, there's a plant sale. Plants, preserves, baking, jewelry. Under the eaves down here, it is until 1:30 this afternoon, and it's being offered by the Go-Go Grannies for the Stephen Lewis Foundation, and it is pay what you wish, and we really hope you'll be generous. All of the proceeds go to the foundation to support the work of those impacted by HIV in 15 countries in Africa. So please be generous if you can. And then they're also having another fundraiser coming up very soon. It's on June 26th, and it's called To the Moon and Back. It's a storytelling, entertainment, finger food thing, and it's being offered here. and in conjunction with the One World Grannies and the Unitarian Go-Go's. And again, it's on Wednesday, June 26th. So watch out for more information. It'll be upcoming. I'm assuming it'll be in the EU in a few weeks. So that sounds like a lot of fun. Stay tuned for that if you'd like to do that. The next announcement is to do with the refugee sponsorship team. They're looking for volunteers because we have another family that will be coming to Ottawa very soon. And so the settlement process requires a lot of hands. They need people to do, so it's not exactly sure when they're gonna come yet, but they wanna make sure that they're ready to have enough people there to help support them when they do arrive. So volunteers are needed for things like organizing health and dental appointments, helping new Canadians navigate those systems, which can be quite challenging, especially when English is not your first language. And if you're interested in helping with any of that, you can go and see Eva Behringer. So she is, where are you, Eva? Eva's in the back there. You can see her right there. She will be in the lounge. She's gonna go grab a coffee, and then she'll be in the lounge after the service. So if you'd like to talk to her more about that, or if you feel like you could be a driver or doing something to help them, then please go and see her. You need lots of hands for that kind of thing. And there's one more announcement. We also have a very special announcement. It has to do with the jeans. We actually have two more announcements, I apologize. The next one is about the jeans. There are still jeans left. Downstairs in the now room, if you would like to buy jeans, they are about $5. I think it says all jeans are just $5. So if you'd like to shop for some jeans, they will be in the now room until from 11:30 to 1:30 today. So I'm gonna stop by there because I need some new jeans, let me tell you. Well, new to me jeans, right? Okay, and the final announcement, join us for spirituality tea time at 1:30 in room 6. They meet once a month to nurture and share their personal spiritual journeys in a mutually supportive, non-judgmental space. So holy moly, there's a lot going on today. If you need to be any clarification on any of those things, I will have my paper and I'd be happy to let you know. Finally, Jane has an announcement to do with Compassion Sparks. So she's gonna come up and do that announcement now.
Thank you, Amy. There we go. Oh, I can put that there. I'm here on behalf of the Cultivating Compassionate Community Core team. For those of you who don't know or have forgotten, our current social justice priority we're calling for short, Cultivating Compassionate Community. Its full meaning is deepening our welcome and support for marginalized folks, particularly for the next year or two, people who are marginalized by virtue of having mental health challenges or having to spend, not having to, but giving time to people who do. And also people who are marginalized in these times today by being part of the LGBTQ2S community. So this morning, I am in fact giving the first Compassion Sparks segment here, which is kind of like just a little reflection. And so every couple of weeks in a service, one of us is going to come up and do just a spark. And the idea is to get us thinking about things. Sometimes we may be asking you to do something, but a lot of the time it's going to be to raise our awareness. So, did you know that expressive writing, what's also called emotional writing, can result in a reduction in stress, anxiety, and even depression? It can improve your sleep and bring us greater focus and clarity. Over 200 research studies have reported that emotional writing can improve our physical and emotional health by helping us process what we've been through and assisting us as we envision a path forward. In that process, it can actually lower our blood pressure and strengthen our immune system and increase our general well-being. I, for one, did not know this. This positive effect of emotional writing, also called expressive writing, is true for those of us, and that's lots of us for sure, who occasionally experience periods of sadness or grief or just kind of low moods. But that's for limited periods of time. But this is also a positive effect for people who have an ongoing basis those who have been identified as having clinical depression or clinical depressive disorder. These folks, many of us, can also who often feel intense, crippling feelings of sadness or loss of interest in activities for sustained periods of time, can also be helped by expressive writing. So what's expressive writing? Simply put, it's writing down, ideally in a journal, our thoughts and feelings about what happened or we experienced on a given day or in an event. Doing so can help us express and manage what we're feeling more clearly. In doing so, it's important, though, that we put attention on stopping overgeneralizing what we put down, to actually push ourselves not only to name the overall feelings and particular things that may have been upsetting, but also to pay attention to, was there anything good? It might have been a brief moment. It might have been seeing a bird in the yard. But to do that and write it down as well as what's upsetting, so that we can pick out something meaningful and enjoyable from the day. This way, as we start to see the weight we may be giving to just particular things, it can help us direct our thoughts away from those and to individual pieces that may be helpful for us. So, I invite us all to consider making a goal to write down for a few minutes each day or week. And by the way, what you write is completely up to and for you.
Thanks, Jane. That sounds great. So we encourage you to sign up for the EUU, our weekly newsletter. Sign up information is available on our website on the Communications tab. So on our website on the Communications tab. Also, check Facebook and Instagram and our website for notices and updates. Our calendar continues to be as full as ever, though some of our activities take place online. This morning, each one of us is welcome. We, of any heritage and faith, whatever our burdens, of any culture or race, of any gender or orientation, in any body, all that we are, today, we are all part of this spiritual community.
Thank you, Amy, Jane, Kate. Each week we pause in our time together in recognition of the joys and sorrows in our lives and across the globe. We honor our celebrations and challenges by placing stones in a bowl of water. As the ripples extend outward, imagine them continuing out beyond these small bowls, out through and past our pews, out into the larger community of all. I'm not sure you can see it, but this morning, before she had to leave for a family event, Suki placed a magnolia blossom. It's just beautiful. Thank you, Chris. For the beauty amid which we live our lives, our first stone today. And next, a stone of sadness and commiseration. Kasha has been one of our childcare workers for years now. This morning, she called Jody to let her know that Kasha and the family were taking their beloved dog, Zola, to the emergency hospital. A few minutes later, she called back saying that Zola had died. Kasha is understandably not with us today, but we hold her in our hearts, wishing her solace on this sad day. Please come forward now to honor any joys and sorrows you are carrying by placing them, stones, in these bowls of water. that last stone, as always, for all the joys and sorrows that still reside in the silent sanctuary of our hearts. If you haven't already seen it, there is a caring card for Kasha at the back caring table. Please, if you would, add your signature. Even if you don't know her, this is a way for us to express our gratitude and appreciation for those who have given so much to keep this community as vital as it is. And now, let us join together in a few moments of stillness and reflection. After a bit, Jan will bring us back together through the gift of music.
Our reading this morning is by Clyde Sanger, and it's about Lotta and the Unitarian Service Committee story. Physically, the frail and tiny figure is dwarfed by the great arena, and of course, she is conspicuously out of place in a hockey stadium, for she stands there on an improvised stage behind a plastic lectern in a dated uniform. Her peaked cap says America, but Canada is firmly pinned. Oh, thanks. Taller people were here. Her peaked cap seems American, but Canada is firmly pinned on her lapels. She wears 5 rows of metal ribbons, but her cap badge is no eagle. It is a sliver of a chalice with a lick of flame above it. She is a woman of discipline and devotion, obviously, but never of war. Yet she has seen many wars, even sought them out. She grew up in the midst of what Europeans called the Great War. She suffered as a refugee on the run, almost died of starvation on a street in Marseille during the Second and Greater War, until a 3-year journey brought her from Czechoslovakia to Canada. That would be enough war for most people, who would start building a secure career, a summer cottage, and other comforts, especially if they had a PhD, as she did. But Lotta Hitchmanova kept going back to wars, or the wreckage left by them, for the next 35 years. To Europe, with its 30 million displaced persons and thousands of mutilated children. To Greece, struggling out of a civil war and ravaged by drought and famine. To Korea and the Middle East, and much later to Vietnam and to Bangladesh. She also went many times with her shoulder bag ready to hold the thick notebooks she was always filling with names and numbers and quotations, to countries where war, in the words of their political leaders, meant the national fight against malnutrition and disease. She often found that this extended to a guerrilla struggle against an uncaring bureaucracy and local power structures, to rebellion against male conservatism, and the despairing pacifism of the utterly poor. It was a fight she joined in India and Nepal and Indonesia, and in the little hostage states that border on South Africa, Botswana, Lesotho, and Swaziland. Now, after 35 years in those battlefields, delivering all manner of help and meticulously gathering from the dusty ground ammunition for all of the speeches ahead of her every autumn to Canadian audiences, she is worn out like any old campaigner. She has grown frail as the hill women to whom she used to take milk and saris in the Kodai district of South India. She seems tiny as she stands on the stage under the dome of Maple Leaf Gardens to receive the Rotary Award for World Understanding in honor of her many years of humanitarian work as Executive Director of the Unitarian Service Committee of Canada. The previous year, the award had been given to Pope John Paul II. But only in physical terms is she dwarfed. Stature has more to do with deeds than with centimeters, and the morning's business is to honor what she has done all these years. And now we are going to have Fusion Choir sing the 23rd Psalm.
This is Bobby McFerrin's setting of the 23rd Psalm, which is dedicated to his mother. So this is in honor of Mother's Day today, and also in honor of people who are nurturing, caring, and being compassionate in general for us. It's a beautiful reimagining of these commonly sung words.
The Lord
Julia, can we go back a couple slides? Bobby McFerrin was not talking about Dr. Lotta, but one of the lyrics spoke to me. One more. She won't forsake me. For 35 years and more, Dr. Lotta Hitchmanova didn't forsake anyone in need. Early in my time with this congregation, this community of faith, I mentioned on a Sunday morning the old adage that we stand on the shoulders of giants. And I asked, if memory serves, whose shoulders you have stood upon. And then I asked the more difficult question, perhaps, who will stand on your shoulders? What will they see with the vantage point we have provided them? Now, we'll return to that question a bit later, but first I want to talk about the giant of a diminutive woman Chris introduced us to earlier, Dr. Lotta Hitchmanova. She was a Canadian institution for decades until her death in 1990, and a fixture here, well before her sculpture was created here at First Unitarian. She was born to a Bohemian family in Bohemia, before it was called Czechoslovakia, in late November 1909. And I am looking at the clock, so I'm going to wrap things up a little quicker than I had originally planned. But I want to tell you an incident that took place when she was 16 that let the world know what it had in her. She was 16, and she and her family were living in Prague, and a rumor went around that the Streetcar Commission would fund an artificial limb for those who needed one for anyone who collected 10,000 used streetcar ticket stubs. Lotta said, I can do that. She organized her entire school and a nearby bank, employees at the bank and the customers, and over a series of months collected over 10,000 used streetcar ticket stubs. And she walked a crate of them into the Streetcar Commission's offices, where they told her that news was just a hoax. It wasn't true. All that effort and for naught. You would have thought someone would have said, maybe we can do this after all, the work that she went to. But look what she accomplished. Even if nothing came of it, she organized her school and local businesses to do something for people in need. And when the war came close and her family needed to flee, she and her younger sister separated, parents taken to the Tezerin refugee camp. She continued working with the resistance, working to help people in need. She left Marseille, left France, on a converted banana boat. It took 46 days to travel from Marseille to Ellis Island in New York. When she got to Montreal, given her permission to come, she had $60 in her pocket. And within 4 days, found work for a man who ran a company. He was Czech. And she worked there for a while before she got a post to come to Ottawa to work as a postal censor, to read and make sure that folks here weren't giving information to folks who we didn't want to have that information over in Germany. She had studied in Prague and then in Paris. She was going to be a journalist, but the tides of history had other plans for her. She worked for Post Canada. I don't know if it was called that then during the days, but in the evening and on the weekend she organized support, and within a few years was one of the founders of what was called the Unitarian Service Commission of Canada. The Unitarian Service Committee of the United States and in Europe was helping refugees escape, and they had a little hospital, a clinic. And one day, when she was in Marseille and weak and tired and exhausted and malnourished, she fell and hit her head, and it was the Unitarian Service Committee's clinic that got her hale and well again. Well, in that journal that she took, she wrote down the names, and she kept in touch with anybody who might have been a help to her. I'm seeing some smiles here. I meant to ask originally, Dr. Lotta died in 1990. She's been gone for a long time. Who here remembers her? Oh, a good number. She was ferocious in her own way, wasn't she? She was so small and mighty. I've heard different accounts, so I want to be careful about this. In my reading, I found that she never married, she never had a family. One of the people in this congregation said that she had a husband. I don't know the truth. It doesn't really matter. But when she learned in the summer of 45 that her parents had been killed in the Holocaust, she was devastated. You can imagine that. She had planned to go back to Czechoslovakia, and with the news that those who she loved most were no longer there, she wrote a letter to a friend saying, "The only thing left for me now is to work so that their loss may not be in vain." And that motivation stayed with her to help refugees coming out of war-torn Europe. When Europe was beginning to stabilize, she went, or at least Northern Europe, she went further south to Cyprus and to Greece. And then across the world, as you heard, to Nepal, Bangladesh, Southern Africa. She was relentless. For 35 years, she made fundraising trips across the country of Canada. She penned radio and television public service announcements, and always end with the address of the Canadian Unitarian Committee, 56 Spark Street. And if any Canadian knew more than one address in Ottawa, it was 24 Sussex or 56 Sparks. And now 24 Sussex is perhaps known for other reasons. As a newcomer here, I don't want to say too much, but rats. But 56 Sparks is still going. The successor to the Unitarian Service Committee, Seed Change, is still there, and Suite 600. Seed Change has a much pithier name than Unitarian Service Committee and has a much more focused mission. And this was perhaps Dr. Lotta's brilliance. She was focused. She pared down. Projects were manageable. She knew the people. She could easily say, this is working, this isn't. After she retired in '83 and stepped down, the program offered fewer programs, but each program was a little larger. Now Seed Change has focused dramatically differently, not on refugees, but on seeds, keeping sustainable agriculture in communities viable. It doesn't resonate in the same way for many of us than the needs of refugees do. But I think that's because we've become a little removed from the food chain. I am the size I am because of good seeds, and I respect that. So listen, I need to wrap up. The choir's going to come back and sing. This is just a beginning. I will have more to say about others whose shoulders we stand upon, and I will continue asking, who will stand on our shoulders? What does the vantage point we provide help them to see and to do? Thank you.
The piece Fusion is about to sing for you is called Bit Światem Wladla, and it is originally in Czech. However, we're not going to sing it in Czech today, not because Fusion doesn't have impeccable Czech, I am sure. But the story behind this song is that it was actually written in Terezín concentration camp by a man named Gideon Klein. And it was taught to the girls who were living in the dormitories there. And the text, which you'll see behind you, is very much had a subversive message at the time. And it was to help empower and give hope to the girls who were living there. However, when they were out and about, whenever they were around the Nazi guards, they would sing it on Lie, Lie, Lie. So we will be singing it on Lie, Lie, Lie for you today.
La
Lovely. Thanks, Fusion. I invite the ushers to start passing the baskets at this time. Thank you. This congregation has a long history of care, vitality, and bringing people together to move the arc of justice forward. We have been able to live into our hopes and dreams because of the generosity of those within and beyond this community. Whether you are here in Worship Hall or anywhere else, you are part of this community. We rely on one another to keep this congregation vital and resilient. If you have any questions about how you can give, please go to our website or contact our finance manager to find out how to make a donation or to keep up with your pledge. Our gifts are given freely and gratefully received. We dedicate these gifts to the work of this congregation, serving human wholeness, caring for the planet, upholding religious freedom, welcoming the stranger, and loving one another. And now please rise as you are willing and able as we join in our closing hymn, number 1057 in our teal hymnal, Go Lifted Up. The lyrics will be on the screen above.
Jen, I loved that anthem as well as that song. We may want to keep that one in mind as fall and elections south of us take place. Before we begin to close this time of worship and reflection, a reminder that coffee hour will begin in Fellowship Hall immediately after the service. If you are new here, find my prop. If you're new here, still feel new, or simply welcome a wonderful conversation today, please pick up a green mug as you enter Fellowship Hall. Doing so will help others looking forward to great conversation find you. Leafy greens, courtesy of the good folks of Ajaski, are also available for anyone who would like some from the old volunteer room near Fellowship Hall. We extinguish our chalice this morning to these, perhaps more traditional Mother's Day words by my colleague Victoria Weinstein. With gratitude for those whose lives have nurtured ours, the life-giving ones who heal with their presence, who listen with sympathy, who give wise advice, but only when asked for it. We are grateful for all those who have mothered us, who have held us gently in times of sorrow, who celebrated with us our triumphs, no matter how small, who noticed when we changed and grew, who praised us for taking risks, who took pride in our success, and who expressed compassion when we did not succeed. On this day that honors mothers, let us honor all those of any gender who from somewhere in their being have freely and wholeheartedly given life and sustenance, and vision to us. Dear God, Mother, Father to us all, grant us life-giving ways, strength for birthing, and a nurturing spirit, that we may take attentive care of our world, our communities, and those precious beings entrusted to us by biology or by destiny or by friendship, fellowship, or fate. Give us all the heart of a mother today. Amen. Jen, can't even see you back there. Singers, would you bless us again by leading us in our closing song, Spirit of Life? Please rise. As we return to the joy and the challenge of helping the world come alive in love, let us go forward with peace in our hearts and determination in our steps. Go in peace, my friends. Go in peace.